I must have forgotten your plate. My mother-in-law smirked as she served everyone at the table but me. Guess you're not as unforgettable as you think. I just smiled, sliding a manila envelope in front of her. This might jog your memory, her grin faltered. She opened it, and for the first time since I'd met her, she stopped breathing. My name is Lillian. I'm 28, and I work at a nonprofit helping first-generation students apply to college. I met Sebastian through friends, and from the start, it just clicked. 2 years later, we were married in the woods. Vows, wildflowers, no drama. Or so I thought. The real storm didn't come from marriage. It came from Sebastian's mother, Emery. Sebastian is one of 3 brothers, the only one married, which made me the only outsider, the first woman to join the family. And Emery didn't like sharing her throne. From day 1, she scrutinized me like I was applying for a job. You work full-time? And you still plan to cook? She asked. I smiled. Sebastian and I split things. He actually enjoys cooking. Enjoys it? She said, raising a brow. That's cute. Every word from her mouth dripped with sugar, but I learned quickly it was poison underneath. She never let me help in the kitchen. No, guests don't work, except I wasn't a guest. I was family, or at least I thought I was. At dinner, her sabotage began. Sometimes I'd find fish bones in my soup. Other times the beef was so bitter I gagged. You don't like my food? She'd ask innocently. I think it didn't sit right with me. Maybe your stomach's too sensitive, dear. Not everyone's used to homemade food. It happened every time, just enough to make me doubt myself or look dramatic if I spoke up. Sebastian didn't believe it at first. But one night after I made him try a vinegar-soaked roast she served, he gagged too. His face changed. We confronted her. You've been doing this since we got married. I'm done pretending. She folded her arms. Well, maybe I cook for my family. That's who I care about. Sebastian pushed his plate away in silence. We walked out without saying goodbye. Weeks later, I was in Chicago for a work conference when fate handed me the truth. Through a cafe window, I saw Emery, on the arm of a man half her age. Holding hands, laughing, touching, I followed them. 20 minutes later, they disappeared into a hotel. That night, I showed Sebastian the video. He barely reacted. It wouldn't be the first time, he admitted. His voice was flat.
She had an affair when I was a teen.
Dad forgave her. I stared at him. And you're okay with this? No, he said quietly. Show me the video. I did. His jaw tightened. She's been cruel to you for years. We're done letting her get away with it. We hired a private investigator. 4 weeks later, a courier delivered the truth in a thick dossier. Photos, receipts, wire transfers, hotel records, jewelry. 7 different men. Thousands of dollars. A second apartment under her name. Holy crap, I whispered. She's not even hiding it, Sebastian muttered. We need to show your father, I said. He nodded. He deserves the truth. When Robert, Sebastian's father, saw the file, he didn't flinch. He read it like grading papers, page by page, then closed it. I forgave her once, he said. But this? 7 men, and the cruelty on top of it. He looked at us both. Let's see who she is when the mask comes off. That weekend, we went to dinner. The table was set with perfect daisies, silverware, 3 plates. Only 3, Robert, Sebastian, and Emery. Dinner's ready, Emery chirped. Boys, your seats are here. Lillian, there's sparkling water in the fridge. Sebastian's jaw tightened. Robert's eyes darkened. I stayed calm. So you didn't make me a plate? I only cook for family, she said sweetly. It feels personal, Robert replied quietly. Her smirk vanished when I slid the manila envelope across the table. Then let's make it personal. She tore it open. The first photo, a hotel balcony, her with one of the men. Arm in arm, smiling, her face drained, page after page, her hands shook. What is this? You know exactly, I said. She turned on Sebastian. How could you let her poison you against me? He looked at her coldly. You did that yourself, Robert finally spoke. His voice calm, unshakable. Is it true? She stammered. I didn't cheat. It wasn't like that. I just needed excitement. You didn't cheat? Robert repeated flatly. That's your defense? When she tried to spin excuses, sacrifice, loneliness, invisibility, he cut her off. I was working overtime at 60 while you lied and stole. You don't know invisibility. You created it. Then he dropped the final blow. A white envelope. I spoke to a lawyer. This is the divorce paperwork. Chaos followed. Emery screamed, tried to guilt her sons, but Daniel and Jason read the file themselves. Jason looked at her with disgust. Dad wasn't cold. He was surviving you. Daniel added, Lillian's been patient, respectful while you sabotaged her. If anyone deserves an apology, it's her. For the first time, Emery realized she had no allies left. She turned to me. You're a woman too. You know what it's like to want more. I held her gaze. I do, but I build, not destroy. Within weeks, Robert froze the accounts. The lawyer finalized the split. Emery lost everything, the affairs, the money, the house. Word spread. The men disappeared when the cash dried up. She ended up working the register at a supermarket near her parents' home. Meanwhile, Robert thrived. The dining room became a library for his grandkids. He smiled again. Daniel and Jason came home more often. Sebastian and I found out we were expecting again. This time there was no shame, no fear. As I watched Robert grilling on the porch one Sunday, Sebastian squeezed my hand. This house feels different now, I said. It is, he replied, because you made it safe. I looked at him and smiled. You chose me when it mattered. You were always the right choice, he whispered. Sometimes I still think of Emery. All the energy she wasted tearing others down when she could have stood with us. But in the end, she taught me something invaluable. Not how to love, but how not to. And that lesson? Worth everything.